Let's talk about this story we got from The Hill. YouTube temporarily suspends and demonetizes Dan Bongino's channel. This is huge, notably because Dan Bongino plays a huge role in Rumble. I believe he's one of their principal investors, and he's been moving off the platform. Anyway, not to mention his podcast, the audio version, is one of the biggest in the world. The Hill says, YouTube took action against conservative commentator Dan Bongino's channel Friday, suspending it for violating the platform's COVID-19 misinformation policy and demonetizing it for at least 30 days. Wow. The week-long posting suspension stems from a video where Bongino said that masks are useless in stopping the spread of the disease. YouTube's COVID-19 policy specifically prohibits content denying the effectiveness of wearing masks, which the vast majority of the scientific community agrees reduces the risk of infection. This is true. Even the frontline doctors have said to wear masks. This is one of the things that really bothers me. But Dan Bongino, in my opinion, is entitled to his opinion. Of course. YouTube doing this is driving a nail into their own platform. And not only that, useless. Is it a fact statement or a hyperbolic statement? Is he saying it's not effective enough and just being hyperbolic? Was his intention to say that they do nothing or that they don't do enough is the issue? There's no room for nuance. When I see things like this, it says to me that YouTube's actual intent is just to get rid of people like Dan Bongino.
Yeah, if people that are on their way out anyway, and they're like, well, he's obviously sending his energy into Rumble right now.
Yep. And he's driving viewers from YouTube to Rumble. Exactly. So they're like, cut him off now. Yeah. But I do want to point this out, too, for a lot of people, because we've had people on the show question the effectiveness of masks. It is true. On the mask box says it doesn't stop, the COVID virus.
Right.
But it does stop you from spitting on people. And for some reason, there was this flippening where early in the pandemic, conservatives wanted to wear masks and then all of a sudden didn't. And now we're in this era where the right is saying, things like masks are useless. Let me just say this. I've looked at a bunch of studies and a bunch of data. The virus, as my understanding, can be transmitted aerosolized through vapor as well as from spit if you're spitting. If you're wearing a mask, you're blocking that spit. And I think it's fairly obvious that would stop you from spitting on people and help reduce the transmission of COVID. The Frontline Coalition of Doctors, that they do the mask protocol and talk about alternative treatments, actually tell people to wear masks as well. So I don't understand why there's like a tribal thing to say not wear them. That being said, I oppose the suspension. I oppose the censorship, obviously. But you know what? If it builds up Rumble, not necessarily even the biggest fan of Rumble, mind you, but if it breaks the YouTube monopoly, then so be it. Let them be their own demise.
I think YouTube is also dealing with a very tough situation. Rogan getting 40 million to 50 million views, according to some estimates, with his latest interviews with Dr. Malone, Dr. McCullough. And I think those big, huge instances that everyone's talking about is something that, of course, YouTube is missing out on. And that's why we even talked about a few days ago why Joe Rogan's move to Spotify was a kind of genius move, a smarter move, because YouTube could deal without having Rogan on their platform, but Spotify can't. YouTube's already censoring, the videos that were on there, but there comes a certain point where people start seeing YouTube for what it is, and I think YouTube is reaching this kind of pivotal point where they're like, holy crap, everyone's kind of jumping ship here. What do we do? I think this is a kind of very important turning stone moment where a lot of people are asking the questions, where do we go next?
Turning stone moment.
Yes. Another Lukeism.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Yes.
Good, yeah.
I don't know what a turning stone is, but I do like the sound of it. We should make like a stone with like, ancient carvings on it, changing the narrative.
The turning stone.
No, I think, what we're seeing right now, the fear and panic over Joe Rogan. And I believe what we're seeing here from YouTube is fear and panic over Dan Bongino. Mm-hmm. So there have been a bunch of people. We were talking to the CEO of Rumble who was saying that people do live streams on YouTube and then tell everybody, okay, the rest of the show will only be on Rumble. Mm-hmm. So they simulcast at the same time on both platforms, and then halfway through the show say, bye-bye YouTube, and turn it off to drive everyone to the other platform. That's massive.
Yes.
That's very damaging. Dan Bongino puts his show on Rumble. Suspending him will do nothing. In fact, it will just hurt YouTube. Now, my ultimate fear is YouTube plays a dirty game. Google, Alphabet, they subsidize YouTube. So it's very difficult for the likes of, say, Rumble to compete with a partner program like YouTube, where Google gets all this money from external sources and then pays people. But as super chats are becoming the principal driver of revenue, you look at Salty Cracker, who's on Rumble, and we were talking to the CEO of Rumble, and he's like, this guy is getting insane amounts of super chats. He's doing better than he would be on YouTube, because people support him and they're involved, and you'll get a better community on these other platforms. I don't know if Rumble is the answer. But you know what? With the more I see the censorship, let these big tech companies be their own demise.